arc. There's a lot going on here.
I think I'm going to, stick to it.
All right, so in this video, we'll
All
be talking about Teresa Giudice and her ongoing frustration with being on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, alongside her brother and his wife.
Yeah, for the past decade, actually, she's been very vocal about how difficult it's been.
And, adding fuel to the fire is Teresa's husband, Luis Ferrell, right?
He even went so far as to say that Joe Gorga basically owes his public recognition to Teresa.
A former producer actually confirmed what Teresa's been saying all along, that she had absolutely no idea that Melissa was being cast on the show until it was basically a done deal.
Wow. And it wasn't just any random time either, right?
Yeah.
This all happened just a week before filming for season 3 was supposed to start.
Right. And to make things even more awkward, it was right before Joe Gorga's child's christening.
Oh, wow. Talk about bad timing. I mean, a christening is supposed to be this happy family event, and then you have this bombshell dropped right before.
And the producer, Carlos King, actually remembered how upset Teresa was when she found out. She was trying to figure out how to deal with it all, especially since it was her brother and sister-in-law.
Right. It's not just about the show. This was deeply personal for her.
It seems like in recent interviews, Teresa has shifted her stance a bit. She's said that she only talks about her brother when directly asked and that she doesn't really want to discuss them anymore.
And she's emphasized that they're not a part of her life right now. Yeah. It seems like she's trying to create some distance, set some boundaries. After all these years of their relationship being front and center, this feels like a pretty significant declaration.
Yeah, it does. And even Lewis seems to be on the same page. There was this one instance where a guest brought up Joe, and Lewis shut it down immediately.
Who, really?
Yeah. He asked them to not talk about Joe and reiterated his belief that Joe owes his fame to Teresa.
Right. Like with Lewber, she's been doing a lot of self-reflection lately, and she said something that really struck me. She was talking about how her past 2 boyfriends both had alcohol issues, and she was starting to wonder if there was a pattern there. Like, why is she drawn to that type of partner?
That's a really key point when we see these recurring themes in someone's relationships.
Yeah, and of course, everyone immediately thinks of her recent breakup with James Kennedy. He hasn't exactly been shy about his struggles with alcohol. And then there's that incident last winter where he was arrested for misdemeanor domestic violence, although he wasn't charged.
Allie did mention that alcohol was involved in the argument that led to that whole situation.
Right, and then things get really interesting. Allie was on her podcast, and she shared that her therapist had offered this really powerful insight. Apparently, Allie's father passed away when she was just 11 years old due to alcohol-related issues, and her therapist suggested that she might be subconsciously trying to save her dad by being in relationships with men who have similar struggles. And Allie's reaction to this was priceless. She was like, holy shit. You could tell it was a major light bulb moment for her. She said she hasn't had a drink since the breakup. She really felt the need to process things in a healthy way. It's like she's actively trying to break that potential cycle. And she's not just making internal changes either. She recently shared a photo of her new apartment on Instagram with the caption, "New space, new energy." And she also released a public statement about the breakup. She called it a toxic relationship and expressed gratitude for her friends and family.
And she even mentioned enjoying decorating her new place. It sounds like she's finding joy in those little things and creating a space that feels truly hers.
Let's switch gears for a second and talk about Brittany Cartwright's planned bar, Brit's WeHo. This one's a real bummer. So back in early 2024, she made this big announcement that she was opening a bar in West Hollywood, practically next door to SUR and Tom Tom. She was hoping for a March opening and seemed super excited about the location. But unfortunately, it all came crashing down. The deal for Brit's WeHo has been terminated. We learned that the location was sold to new management, and they have no plans to open it as Brit's. It's like a complete dead end. Brittany said she felt totally blindsided by the whole thing. That was Rocco's, by the way, which Brit's was supposed to be connected to. Can you imagine putting your heart and soul into something only to have it ripped away like that?
It's gotta be devastating.
And it wasn't just an idea either. They'd already gone all out decorating the place and ordered furniture and fixtures back in January. Talk about adding insult to injury. She did mention that the owners might have taken a financial hit during the January wildfires, so maybe that played a role in their decision to sell. She did say she was honored to have been asked in the first place and understood that it was ultimately their decision. But you could tell she was really disappointed and hurt by the way it all went down. And she even hinted at other opportunities and the possibility of future projects with the same owners. But she sounded hesitant. Understandably so.
It's hard to rebuild trust after something like that, right? It's like that foundation has been shaken and it takes time to repair it.
Okay, let's completely change gears now and talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Right, and right now all eyes are on Kelli, Ferrell, and Brittany. It's pretty clear that their friendship is over. Kelli straight up said on Watch What Happens Live that Britt is her least favorite co-star. That's not exactly subtle.
In the world of Housewives, that's basically like declaring war, right?
And this whole situation seems to be tangled up with Britt's major conflict with Kenya Moore. Remember that revenge porn tiff that actually led to Kenya being temporarily suspended from filming? Well, Kelli seemed genuinely confused about why Britt was so upset with Kenya. She even mentioned that Britt had brought up a gun during one of their arguments, which is a pretty intense detail to just drop casually.
It creates a sense of danger and can escalate things very quickly.
It's like things went from 0 to 100 real fast. And what's interesting is that Kelli said she actually had a really good experience with Kenya. They apparently hit it off immediately and connected as mothers and entrepreneurs. She even commented that Britt seemed to have a totally different version of Kenya. And then, of course, we've got Porsha Williams getting dragged into the mix. Kelli believes that Porsha's recent divorce is karma for her past relationship with Simon, specifically referencing the whole situation with Fallen Gobadia. It's like all these old wounds are being reopened. And then there's Angela Oakley, who Kelli observed is definitely Drew's representative in Drew's ongoing drama with Shamea. It seems like everyone's choosing sides and the lines are being drawn. But let's get back to the main event, the escalating feud between Kenya and Britt. After Angela's event, the whole focus seemed to shift to Britt's comment about the gun. It became the center of the storm. Britt did try to apologize to Kenya, but she felt disrespected and insisted that she never meant to intimidate her with her comment. And then things got even messier at Kenya's hair spa grand opening. She very pointedly did not invite Britt, but Britt showed up anyway, seemingly hoping to make amends.
That took guts, I'll give her that. But you can't force someone to accept your apology.
And Kenya definitely wasn't having it. She just publicly brushed past Britt's attempt to talk and basically ignored her in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Kenya then used her platform at the event to publicly shame Britt. She reportedly displayed posters about Britt's appearance and past even, including what were described as graphic photographs that Bravo thankfully chose not to air.
Oh.
It was way over the top.
That crossed a line even by housewife standards, right? It's one thing to disagree or argue, but to deliberately try to humiliate someone like that is just cruel.
And Bravo took it very seriously. They actually stopped filming with Kenya for the rest of the season because of her behavior. That's a pretty unprecedented move. And even after all of this aired, Porsha publicly supported Britt on Instagram. It seems like this whole saga is far from over.
The drama never really ends, does it? It just spills over onto social media and keeps going.
Okay, let's head back to Beverly Hills for a minute. There's some reunion drama brewing, and it involves Boz St. John accusing Kyle Richards of basically lying about some text messages she exchanged with Doran Kemsley's husband, PK. These reunions always bring the fireworks. And in this case, it seems like the issue is that Kyle initially downplayed the texts, saying they were just jokes and memes, but then later it came out that she had sent a text to PK implying a much deeper conversation, something she wouldn't repeat to Dorit. It's that whole secrecy thing that always gets them in trouble. And Boz didn't mince words. She said, omissions equal lies. And Garcelle Beauvais, ever the voice of reason, suggested that Kyle should have just admitted to talking some shtut about Dorit. Maybe a little honesty would have gone a long way. But Kyle insisted that she never actually gossiped about Dorit with PK. She said they were just discussing the fact that she and Dorit weren't speaking at the time.
The bottom line is that Dorit felt betrayed, and that's hard to come back from.
Speaking of past drama, Kyle Richards has been reflecting on two really iconic moments. The first one is the infamous Goodbye Kyle scene, where she was basically kicked out of Lisa Vanderpump and Ken Todd's house during Puppygate.
That was a game changer, wasn't it? It marked the end of a long friendship and created this huge rift in the group.
Yeah, and what's funny is that Kyle now says she finds it amusing when fans imitate Ken's line, "Goodbye, Kyle." She's even told stories about people yelling it at her in public. It seems like she's able to laugh about it now. And her perspective on the situation back then was that she felt it was important to be consistent in what she was saying to Lisa's face versus what she was saying in her confessionals. So she felt like she was being honest, even though it led to that huge blow-up. Then she also brought up Alison Dubois' psychic prediction from season 1 that Mauricio would never emotionally fulfill her. It was a pretty brutal comment, and it's taken on a whole new meaning in light of their recent separation. Kyle said she was furious at the time, but she still feels like she wouldn't have reacted any differently. It's like she refuses to let anyone dictate her emotions or tell her how to feel. Okay, last but not least, let's take a quick detour to Southern Charm for a story that's equal parts messy and just plain gross. So Rodrigo Reyes is spilling the tea about JT Thomas and Venita Aspen. He claims they hooked up while JT was temporarily broken up with his girlfriend. And Rodrigo claims he has proof. JT supposedly sent Venita pictures afterwards with her makeup all over his face.
Okay, that's just gross and also incredibly disrespectful to both women involved.
To make matters worse, JT apparently got back together with his girlfriend and then didn't defend Venita when the girlfriend started sending her nasty messages. Talk about throwing someone under the bus.
It's like he was willing to sacrifice Venita to save his own skin.
Rodrigo also mentioned that JT was bleeding and peeing all over his outfit on the way to the Carolina Cup because of open wounds from an ATV accident. Somebody just can't make this stuff up. So there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of the latest reality TV drama.